Hello guys and dolls. Whoa, what happened there? What the hell? How are you? I hope you are well. Okay. I am going to talk to you about a class that I attended the other day. It wasn't for me, it was for a friend of mine, and I was his ride. Okay, he has gotten in trouble with DUI, and it has become a money benefiting system because everyone who gets in trouble is going to be paying a lot of money. So that should be some incentive to slow your roll when it comes to drinking and the impact on yourself and the impact on other people. It's I don't drink, so you're probably going, well, what were you doing in a victim impact class if you weren't drinking? What happened was I had dropped him off, and I was there way early before the class even ended, and where I was trying to go didn't work out because there was no public access to the road that I was trying to get to, the river that I was trying to get access to. There didn't seem to be any public access to it. So 2 different apps gave me wrong directions because I was going to go to the river to kill time, while he did the class, but it didn't work out that way. Both apps gave me wrong directions and had me in the middle of a residential area, and your destination is on the right, and when you look on the right, it's a house. So what is going on? So it was weird. So anyway, I decided to just go back to Highway Patrol, and they invited us, and myself and his grandson, who's 13 years old. They were kind of concerned because they're like, not sure if you should see it because it's got sensitive graphic and sensitive images, but at the same time it's good for him to see it at a young age, so hopefully he doesn't get involved with this when he gets older. Hopefully this will stay in his mind. So he played his video game the whole time. I'm not sure how many of the graphic images he actually saw. I think there was like 1, but I'm not sure. So I'm going to give you a fair warning. Some of the things that I'm going to talk about are very graphic. If you have a weak stomach, if you can't handle someone talking about graphic things, this is not the video for you. Okay? I was an EMT, so I have a book that has very graphic pictures in it. And everybody who wanted to see my book, I had to warn them ahead of time. I said, do you have a weak stomach? Because it doesn't hold anything back. This is actual patients, actual people who have had severe trauma and they passed away. Can you handle graphic images? And they're like, oh yeah. So if they couldn't handle it, they didn't tell me. They just basically said that they could handle it. So I'm going to be talking about some graphic things. Like I said, if you can't handle it, this is your time to exit the video. And for those of you who want to stay, here we go. So the purpose of this video, or the purpose of the class, is to get through to people who have had an issue with drinking. They've been arrested, they've been in trouble, they've had to put a breathalyzer in their vehicle, they have been fined, they've had to do community service, they have had to pay $7,000 to $20,000 in fines because they can't stop drinking and driving. And this also pertains to the victims of people who were drinking like that. Okay? So it's a very serious topic. Like I said, if you can't handle it, then we'll see you next time. Okay? No harm, no foul. All right. So everything that I tell you is factual. Everything that I tell you can be researched. All the names of the people involved can be researched. The name of the Highway Patrol can be researched. So there will be no accusations of me spreading misinformation, because certain entities, we won't go into it, but certain entities like to, you know, you know, say that you're not exactly telling the truth when this is exactly the truth. This is what happened. And I'm using real people's names because that's what they use when they teach this class. They use real names. The officer who's very passionate about this type of thing, he uses his real name. He shows you pictures of his children. He talks about his wife and these and real names of victims. None of it is fake. None of it is fake names. None of this is anything I made up because I didn't have nothing better to do with myself. All of this is factual. Matthew Cordless was a guy who got drunk, went driving on the wrong side of the road, and he hit and killed someone. Don't make excuses for drinking and driving. He got 7 years and served 5 for doing community service. Sometimes people say, I'm not far from home. I didn't drink that much. I'm not that drunk. It can't happen to me. The process, okay, once you get caught, getting embarrassed, bond, court dates, you miss work, legal cost of $7,000 to $20,000, and you could lose your driver's license, okay? The effects of drinking, and this person, the guy, Michael Cordless, was talking about how he got drunk. He didn't think he was that drunk, and he ended up hitting someone and killing them, okay? He talks about it. So, the effects of drinking: judgment is off. You lose decision-making ability. You have increased risky behavior. You struggle with fine motor skills. The inability to drive, large motor skills. You know, you can't walk, you can't talk, you can't stand straight. The outcome for cops: they have to do death notifications. Picking up the pieces, literally, sometimes literally picking up the pieces of people who are victims, or they were drunk themselves. Seeing what victims go through, okay? Audrey G, she had a few drinks. She talks about this on the video. She had a few drinks. She stopped 2 hours before work and said that she felt fine. She actually is not disguised. You see her face. This is who she really is. None of this is made up, okay? This is all real. She had a few drinks. She stopped 2 hours before work. She said she felt fine. Passed out behind the wheel when she was on her way to work, and she woke up to her airbag being deployed, and she killed 2 people. Your life can be changed in a split second. And then we saw a graphic video of people killed while drunk or the victims. And I remember thinking that the cars looked like crushed soda cans. That's the best way I could describe it. Okay. There was a person who was drunk. He was driving a Camaro, 125 miles per hour. He hit the car, rolled, landed upside down. 2 girls in one car. One survived, and the Camaro, so the Camaro made impact with the car of these 2 young ladies in the car. And the one young lady was talking about how her friend had gotten killed. She knew that when she called her name and held her hand that she was gone. The Camaro driver got 17 years for manslaughter and assault. Okay. There was another victim who he was literally cut in half. I've never seen that before. I've seen a lot of graphic, a lot of graphic things, and I don't recall. Let me see. Actually, that's not true. I saw somebody who was hit by a train. He fell asleep on the tracks because the tracks were warm, and he got hit by the train, and half of his body was on, down there, and then the other half was down the other side. So I saw that. But this particular image was different. It looks like a person laying on their stomach. But imagine them from the waist down, all of that was intact. Everything from the waist up was gone. Okay? I've never seen exactly like that before. Another had a graphic gash going deep into his head, into his brain. So if you imagine there's a deep gash in the head and a chunk of that part of the head is missing, and you could literally look inside the person's head. There's not a lot of bleeding because the person died pretty quick, probably instantly. So you're not going to see a lot of blood, but it was just weird. This massive laceration. And you're looking inside the person's head. So there was a guy who, during this impact class, his parents lost their son. And they actually show graphic pictures of her son after he lost his life. You gotta be as tough as nails to show a graphic picture of your son after he was killed in a car accident and laying in a body bag. You gotta be as tough as nails. But they use the impact of their son who had gotten hit by a drunk driver. They use that as a, not really a shock value type of thing, but they're showing you reality. This is what happened, and this is what you could cause, or this is what could happen to you as a result of all of that drinking that you're doing. So they want to kind of shake your tree. They're not going to sugarcoat it, okay? They're going to hit you with some serious reality, all right? You could research any of these names. Like I said, this is, certain entities like to say that, if they don't like your topic, they say that you're spreading misinformation, which is a bunch of bullshit. This is actual real, and it can be researched. Anyway. So, Tom Lee Willems, Willems. He used to work at a recycling plant. And he noted, he had seen where a guy, I guess he saw it on TV or in the news or something, a guy was driving a car, hit a parked car and bounced off of it, because that's how hard he hit this person that was under the influence. He hit this parked car and bounced off of it. And Tom's son said, "You watch, Mom, he's going to kill someone one day." A few weeks later, the same drunk driver killed Tom. So in a weird way, he predicted his death. He died instantly. He was knocked unconscious and died. The driver did meth all night long on a Sunday and killed their son the next day. The funeral home made the parents sign a waiver because his brain had swelled up to where he was unrecognizable, and they wanted an open casket. So basically the funeral home makes you sign this paper that says you can have an open casket, but don't expect your loved one to look like you expect them to look, because the injuries that they sustained are way too significant, and there's but so much that they could do to make that person look normal, So the driver was on Highway B at 5 o'clock in the morning in going towards, I think it was in Hallsville. He passed someone on a curve and hit Tom head on. He had been doing drugs, like I said, the night prior. He killed Tom, and he's higher than a kite, as you know. He killed Tom and got out of the car and was pissed off because he said Tom ruined his car. Okay, that tells you how far he was gone with all the drugs that he'd been slamming his brain with. Tom's aorta had separated from his heart, which is what killed him. So the impact of his chest was so severe, it severed his aorta from his heart. He also had many broken bones. Okay, the driver got 12 years. There is also a term called negligent entrusted. If you know someone is an unfit driver and they do something crazy, you can be sued for that. I saw the image of Tom Willem, and he went from a bright, ambitious, good-looking, young, happy guy to a guy who was instantly killed by someone who was irresponsible. That person, you know, if you're slamming drugs, it's bad enough you don't care about your life, but then you obviously don't care about someone else's life either. Because you got behind the wheel and you just didn't, his eyes were half open. The mom had said, like I said, she was both parents were at the class. The mom said, you know, did he die suddenly? Was there a tear coming out of his eye? They're like, no, that was it. You know, he didn't suffer at all. You could tell that he was no longer with us. You could tell by the look on his face. You could tell by how pale his skin was. You could just tell that he was no longer here. They emphasized, for obvious reasons, that if you feel like you have to get smashed, have a designated driver. It doesn't make any sense to put your life or someone else's life at risk. It makes no sense. I felt honored that they allowed us to be part of that, because it's really only for people who got in trouble with the law. But if they could spread the message to as many people as possible to prevent this from happening to other people needlessly. I took notes. As you see, I took notes. I took the class seriously. Like, you know, if there's any way I could spread the message, that's what I want to do. It's just, you know, they pulled out an actual body bag, and the dad said, this is identical to the body bag that my son was in. And they showed his son in the body bag. It's like a tarp type of material, and it looks like it's got Velcro on it. Obviously, the worst phone call you could ever receive in your life, if you're a parent and your child is gone, the worst phone call you could ever receive. I won't forget those images at all. It's just, you know, this simple little action can cause people to die. And some people do it to themselves, and they die because of cirrhosis of the liver and other medical situations as a result of slamming all that alcohol or drugs. Then they end up with kidney failure, and, you know, it's just not a good road to go down. It's just not. I don't like the taste of alcohol, and I don't have an addictive personality, okay? I don't get addicted to drugs. I don't like taking them, okay? So in order for you to be an addict, you got to kind of enjoy it. I don't. I have weaned myself off of heavy-duty medications early after surgery, and my body goes, no you don't. And I regretted doing that, and I got back on them because the pain karate kicked me. So they show you those graphic pictures because they don't want you to hear about it in the news. They don't want you to hear a discussion about it. They want you to see with your own eyes what your actions can cause, either happening to you or, like I said, happening to someone else. So they want to show you graphics. They want to show you the blood on the ground, the body on the ground. They want to show you these things. So hopefully something in your head will click. So like I said, I'm honored to be a part of it, be part of the class. I feel like it's my responsibility to spread the word, and I don't tell you about the graphicness so that you could go, oh God, I tell you because that's reality. That's reality. We can't run from it. We can't run from it because it could happen to us. It could happen to someone we love. It could happen to someone we know. So people have to think before they do. They have to think before they do. You are going to possibly negatively impact not just the person who was a victim to your actions, but the whole family, their spouses, their children, their grandchildren. So we have to be responsible for what we do, bottom line. And one of the people in the class had said, a person who cares about you will be more than happy to be a designated driver. And I'm like, yeah, I've done it. I've done it. I'm a night owl anyway. So if you need me to pick you up at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to bring you home, and I don't, it's not too far away or whatever, I've done that before. I've done that for my best friend's kids. I had another best friend that lived in a really tiny town called Knobnoster, Knobnoster, that is also factual. It does exist, and it's in, the town is Knobnoster, and it's the home of the B-2 bomber from Whiteman Air Force Base, which is also factual. Anyway, moving right along. So, they were going to go, they were of age to drink, okay, and I told them, I will pick you up. Oh, it's going to be late. I don't care. Because I don't want you or someone else wrapped around a telephone pole. Yes, I will bring you home. And you just could get a ride the next day from a friend or something to pick up your car. You don't need to be on a metal slab and your parents getting a dreaded phone call at the wee hours in the morning, or someone else's parents getting a dreaded phone call. It's just, if it's preventable, let's prevent it, right? Logical. All right, you guys take care, and much love.